do you think you are, acting all high and mighty? There are plenty of women who can replace you as a wife, you know. You better watch your mouth. I had enough of my mother-in-law's oppressive behavior. Understood. Well, I'll leave as you wish. A few days after moving out of the house, she showed up with a swollen face in front of me. I'm sorry. I want you to forgive me. Please. I'm Hazel, a 30-year-old homemaker. It's been 2 years since I married Daniel. Our story goes back to our university days. Back then, I was working part-time at a convenience store, and he joined as a new part-timer. He was a freshman, a year younger than me. Surprisingly, we found out we attended the same university. We were also in the same major, so we hit it off during overlapping shifts. We enjoyed chatting about easy classes to take and interesting clubs. We continued working at the same place throughout our university years. Even after I got a real job, we stayed in touch, offering advice during his job hunts. Eventually, he joined the workforce, and that's when we became serious. We both worked hard at our jobs, and managed to spend our days off together, sometimes going back and forth between our places. After being together without any drama for about 3 years, we decided to move in together. Living with him was a blast. We picked out furniture and appliances together, and even bought matching dishes. I always dreaded parting at the end of our dates, so it made me happy to come back to the same place and wake up next to him every day. We really got along well and enjoyed living together. About a year later, he popped the question, and we decided to tie the knot.
8 years since we met. 4 years since we started dating. And I've always loved you. My feelings for you keep growing. You'll always be the most important person to me. So marry me, and let's spend the rest of our lives together.
My feelings for you haven't changed since we started dating. I look forward to our future together. Hence, the wedding preparations began. First, we went to introduce ourselves to each other's family. Since we had been together for a long time and lived together, he had already met my mom. As for my dad, it was his first time meeting Daniel, but my mom had spoken highly of him, so he seemed to trust him already. The impression was good from the start, and we had a cheerful time together. My dad was impressed by Daniel and gave us blessings for our marriage. Next, we visited his parents, whom I had never met. I was extremely nervous, wondering what they'd be like. I was filled with jitterbugs that day. When we arrived there, his father, Lyle, greeted us.
Oh, welcome. Nice of you to come all the way.
I'm Hazel. Nice to finally meet you.
Likewise to you.
He was all smiles, looking truly happy.
Hey, where's Mom? Oh, she went shopping. Should be back soon. Seriously? I told her we were coming to talk about our wedding. I told her you'd be here soon too. She said something about a big sale at the supermarket this morning and rushed out. Man, she's quite free-spirited, or should I say, self-centered. Sorry, honey.
No problem at all. Lyle's warm and friendly manner had me relaxed already, so I didn't mind about his mom. Then, after 20 minutes, Julia returned home. I'm home! Daniel, you're already here!
Where have you been, Mom? I told you the time we were coming.
Oh, did you? Well, I couldn't help it, so cut me some slack, will you?
Jeez, you're selfish.
Hi, I'm Hazel. Oh, you're the fiancé. Happy to meet you. Here, I brought some cakes. Oh, how sweet of you. I'll make some drinks then. We finally sat down, all together, and chatted over coffee and cakes. He had mentioned bits and pieces about our relationship since his college days, so his parents were aware of our history.
You've been together for a long time, and you seem to have a solid relationship. I'm happy that you guys found each other and look forward to having you as a family, Hazel.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be a part of your family. Relieved to have Lyle's blessing and to see Julia smiling beside him. After, we managed to arrange a dinner with both families. We had our wedding. Then, we went on our honeymoon and started our married life. Well, since we've been living together, nothing much changed. But just being newlyweds made me feel excited. Seeing my changed last name made it sink in that I was indeed married. Both of us had lived alone before, so cooking and cleaning weren't an issue. We shared household chores while focusing on our work. Our new life was fun, and time flew by. Before I knew it, 2 years had passed, and we were still going strong, very much in love. However, something happened that changed our circumstances around that time. It all began when Lyle had an accident that led to a fractured leg and was required to stay in the hospital for a while.
Dad, are you okay? Oh, sorry to worry you. It seems quite serious, and I'll have an extended hospital stay followed by rehab. Oh no. And there's a bit of an issue. I need rehab 3 times a week. But Julia doesn't drive a car, so there's no one to drive me. Oh, right. Now that you mention it, we're wondering what to do once I get discharged. I see. Rehab must be for quite a long time, huh? Yeah, that's the thing. So, we're looking for someone reliable, but it's not easy for everyone to commit long term. Arranging a taxi every time costs money, you know?
He seemed really troubled. Daniel and I were also scratching our heads over that. It was for sure inconvenient that there was no one available to take him to rehab.
Both of us are busy working.
Yeah, what to do? We were inclined to help Lyle somehow and talked about it often. Then, Daniel received a call from Julia.
Hey, Mom. What's up?
Daniel, I have a favor to ask. It's about Dad.
Oh, the rehab thing?
Yeah. I hate to ask, but can you guys help him?
We've thought about it, but we're both working, so it's difficult, you know?
Please. I can't handle it alone. Would you consider moving in with us?
What? Live with you guys?
We were taken aback by her sudden request. If it was just about picking up and dropping off for rehab, we'd understand. But she unexpectedly asked us to move in.
I really don't know what to say at this moment.
Please, we're really in a tough spot.
Let me discuss this with Hazel. We'll get back to you soon.
Please, thank you. He ended the call, and we deliberated. At one point, I made up my mind. What if I pick up and drop off Lyle for rehab?
But you have to work.
I'll talk to my boss and change to part-time.
No, you've been working so hard to build a career. In that case, maybe I can change to part-time temporarily.
I think your career is more important than mine. I'll support your dad and mom.
What about moving in with them?
Well, why not? Not forever, but as a family, we need to help each other out.
You're the best. Thanks, honey. I'll let Mom know right away.
He called her, informing her about living together and taking care of the ride. She was overjoyed and extremely grateful. Afterward, we canceled the lease of our apartment to match Lyle's discharge from the hospital and moved to my in-laws. I explained my situation to my boss and got switched to part-time, working 2 to 3 times a week. Then, I helped Julia with housework and caregiving while handling Lyle's rehab trips. I did my best to assist them as much as I could. However, Julia often complained about how I did things. What have you cooked here? It's tasteless. Oh, is it? Sorry. I thought the seasoning was just right, but... Are you kidding me? Do you have a taste disorder or something? Excuse me? Make it more flavorful. Oh, okay. On another day, I was criticized for the way I cleaned. Hey, you're cutting corners. This spot is still dirty. She nitpicked about incredibly minor things. Honestly, unless it was a deep cleaning day, I wouldn't have bothered with those specific areas. She kept criticizing me, and gradually showed her true colors. Honestly, what's the point of using you as a homemaker? Huh? She said, using me. If you call yourself a housewife, do a better job. You can't even do chores well. You're done as a woman. She kept insulting me. Why did she have to say such things? It seemed like she enjoyed tormenting me. Maybe suggesting we live together was to bully me from the start. It was enough to make me think about such things. I think I'm quite capable of taking care of the chores. Even objectively, I believe I did the housework properly. And she left everything to me. I managed the chores, took care of Lyle's rehab trips, and even provided caregiving. Despite all that, she kept complaining about me and did nothing herself. Shut up! You overestimate yourself way too much. To be honest, you're not good at all. I pity Daniel for having a wife like you. Her nastiness pushed me into a dark place, but I couldn't talk to Daniel about it. It was partly my hesitation, but he was really busy with work and was frequently away on business trips. I didn't want to cause unnecessary worries when he already had a lot on his shoulders. Ideally, I wanted to solve it on my own. Also, there was a reason I managed to endure all this. It was because Lyle was incredibly kind and treated me well. He always appreciated me when I drove him or took care of him, and always had interesting stories to share. I enjoyed spending time with a knowledgeable and articulate Lyle. So, even though Julian mistreated me, spending time with him somewhat relieved the stress. Well, until her harassment became so extreme that the balance tipped towards the stress. I dealt with those struggles alone, every day. One day, Lyle complained of chest pain, and we had to rush to the hospital. He was treated immediately, but as a precaution, he needed to stay in the hospital to undergo further tests. What was unfortunate was that Daniel had a business trip for a few days at the same time. I was at my wit's end. During that time, I was going to be left alone with Julia. I was certain she would bully me as she pleased. As expected, the moment I became alone with her, she started nitpicking about everything. You're such an incompetent woman, you know that? Can't even handle housework, have no charm, and yet you seem to sit on a throne or something just because Lyle favors you.
What? No, I don't think so.
Who knows? You're not trying to seduce him, are you?
Please, don't say such stupid things. I'm doing my best to support him. But what about you? You just pass everything to me and only complain. I couldn't help but talk back to her from the frustration that had been building up inside me. Then, she got furious, her face turning beet red.
Who do you think you are? Acting all high and mighty? There are plenty of women who can replace you as a wife, you know. You better watch your mouth.
I had enough of her oppressive behavior.
Understood.
Well, I'll leave as you wish. She gave me a smug look.
Oh, great. Just do that. And don't you dare come back. Leave Daniel, too.
Ignoring her, I started packing my stuff. I wanted to get away from her as soon as possible. I had to hold off on telling Daniel until later, but I knew he'd understand. As soon as I finished packing, I went to my parents' house. They were stunned to see me, but when I explained the situation, they sympathized and welcomed me warmly. I had been doing everything at my in-laws' place, so I was glad to be relieved from the chores and took a much-needed break. I explained what happened over the phone on the last day of Daniel's business trip. He was enraged after hearing it.
Leave it to me. You can relax at your parents' place and wait for me.
A few days after leaving the in-laws' place, Julia showed up with a swollen face in front of me. What do you want? I asked in anger, and suddenly she started weeping.
I'm sorry. Please, forgive me. I've been terrible to you. I'll apologize as many times as it takes, so please.
She repeatedly apologized, without minding the tears and snot flowing down. When I looked closely, her face and eyes were quite swollen. Then Daniel came up from behind.
Mom, don't think everything will be okay just because you apologized. I'm really sorry, honey. If only I had noticed sooner.
No, it's okay. I'm at fault for not mentioning it earlier. By the way, what happened to her face?
Oh, about that.
He explained the background. The day he returned was the same day Lyle came back from the hospital after the tests. As soon as Lyle arrived, he asked her why I wasn't around. She triumphantly answered,
I kicked her out. She was trying to seduce you.
To which Lyle exploded in anger.
God darn you. She was sincerely taking care of me. What the heck have you done, throwing out such a kind person?
Julia didn't expect him to get that angry and was utterly shocked. And at that moment, Daniel arrived home. Knowing the situation, he teamed up with Lyle and confronted her. They scolded her for hours, and she apologized to both of them until she ran out of tears. Because of that, her face and eyes ended up swollen. Then she was ordered to apologize to me, which led her to come to my parents' house. Thank you for your apology, Julia.
So then...
However, I can't forgive you.
Oh, but why?
How much do you think I've suffered? If I had done something wrong, I'd apologize. But clearly you are getting a kick out of bullying me, right? Do you think I can forgive being treated like a toy? I don't know if I can ever forgive you. No matter how much you apologize, I won't accept it.
Oh, no, please. If you don't forgive me, I'll be kicked out of my home. I'll apologize as many times as you want. I'm begging you.
So you just want to protect yourself, right? How can I forgive you if you're not even sincerely remorseful? I don't want to see you again, and I'll cut ties with you. I only want Daniel and Lyle around.
Mom, this is our decision. Since you've tormented her, I can't turn a blind eye. I want nothing to do with you from now on.
Please, don't say that, Daniel. How did it come to this? She crumbled to her knees. Daniel took the dejected Julia back home. Since she didn't get my forgiveness, Lyle kept his word and kicked her out of the house. After being thrown out, she was served divorce papers and ended up alone. She had no one else to rely on and found herself in a lonely life with no money at all. Currently, she's living in a rundown apartment and working a low-paying job. On the other hand, Daniel and I remained in the family home with Lyle, living happily together as a trio. Recently, we found out that I'm with a child. We're eagerly anticipating the day when we welcome the new addition to our family. Our life is much more peaceful and filled with laughter now.